Okay, welcome to another Hope University with us. Thank you all for taking your time. And those of you that are coming to listen to the recording, thank you. This is going to be a real blessing for you. Before we even begin today, let's talk with our Heavenly Father. Father, thank you so much again for another day of life and a day that you have created for us at this very moment to be able to hear some things that are so important to us in fulfilling the mission of Trades of Hope. So this morning I ask a blessing on each and every listener, and especially on our speaker, our precious founder, Lord, that you would just alleviate any anxiety that she might have felt from what she's experienced, and that the things that we need to hear would just come to us very clearly and forthrightly, for you are the great communicator. And we ask all of this for your glory and your honor. And we love you so much. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. So this morning, before I can introduce to you our amazing founder, I want to also congratulate Robin Schreiner. Woohoo! I don't know if you're on here, Robin, but you are the Hope You winner for this week. Yay. You're going to love your gift. Isn't this fun, girls? I want you to make sure that you keep posting on the official prize giveaway so that you as well can win a wonderful gift from our amazing company who have such a big heart to share with us. I love it. Yeah. All right. Here we go. I get to introduce to you Gretchen. And before I share with you some of the things that she wrote, I just want to tell you that I've been working with this company for since, well, I guess in a month or so it will be official, and officially a year. And I can't tell you how much I love Gretchen. I love all of them. But Gretchen is one I work with most, and I have just come to love her in a way that probably I can't really express to her, but I am so thankful that the Lord has put her in my life, and I'm looking forward to much more time and privilege of spending in her company. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She started and she ran a charity called Three Angels in Haiti, and she was there for about 8 years. And through that time, her passion for job creation was really formed, and that helped lead to the creation of Trades of Hope. She grew up in Michigan, and she's a wife to Fritz, a mom to Elizabeth, Harrison, and Mia. And as the home team will tell you, her favorite thing to do is push people out of their comfort zones so that they do things they never really thought that they could. And I know she's done that with me, and I know she'll do that with you. So welcome, Gretchen.
Oh.
We're so excited to hear from you.
Thank you. You're so sweet, Marianne. Goodness, it's a good ego boost to have Marianne introduce you, I think. Well, this whole journey really started last spring. Colleen Beeger has let me know about these literary tours that were being led by a favorite author of ours, John Shores. We have that in common, Colleen and I. And most of his books are historical fiction. And one of my favorite books takes place in Cambodia during the 1100s, and it was really during this reign of kings and queens, and occurs in and around Angkor Wat, which is in Cambodia in Siem Reap. So when John writes these stories, he does a ton of research. He spends weeks there, if not months, and so he really knows the area in and out, and he knows a lot of people there. So Fritz and I signed up to take this tour. It was supposed to purely be a vacation, and it started off in the North and South Vietnam. Yeah, as his other books, he has another book that took place there, which is really good as well. But then it goes into Siem Reap, into Cambodia. And I really didn't know anything about Cambodia, so I really thought it was going to be just really an exciting adventure, if you will. And we had a lovely time in Vietnam. But then we after spending about 4 or 5 days there and seeing several different cities and areas, we flew into Siem Reap, which is in the northern part of Cambodia. So I just want to share with you some of the beginnings of that vacation and that time in Cambodia, because I thought the contrast was quite amazing to me, and I'm hoping that wasn't, I hope that's something you can kind of identify with and see some value in as well. So my first impression of Cambodia was I loved it. We got to the airport. It kind of has this old world feeling, traveling through the cities. It's clean. It felt like it was prospering. I think Siem Reap just really felt to me like it was really hopeful. And I think I found that really exciting. It just seemed like it was a really good situation for the people there, and because of the tourism, and there were a ton of middle-class jobs that certainly had never been there before. Last year, Angkor Wat was named one of the man-made 7 wonders of the world, and so it's becoming this hot touristic destination. Many Europeans visit there, and many people in China go there as it's kind of become this very trendy vacation place for the Chinese, apparently. So this first photo that I have here is actually my favorite temple that we went to. It's called Dan. And what I loved about all of these places is when they were built. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling to think that these things were built in the 1100s. And just envisioning how people lived, and just envisioning them walking around there and building these structures. And all of the walls have these intricate carvings and things. So just the craftsmanship is really crazy, actually. They also had these really advanced irrigation systems that were found, and obviously they just had these amazing abilities to plan architecturally and to engineer these works into reality, and they really are pieces of art in my eyes. So,
yeah, beautiful.
Okay, so then somewhere, I'm sorry. Anyway. Okay, I'm going off my notes here, and I just lost my spot. But I'm just going to go off the pictures then. So the kind of intriguing part about this whole area is it was really kind of taken over by the jungle. Somewhere in, somewhere around 1400, something like that, it was really all abandoned, and there was no real life, no humans living there anymore, and the jungle just kind of took over. So in that photo, you can see where this tree was kind of enveloping this building, and before the French came in the 1700s and discovered it and cleared it away, the whole place was covered like this. So they left some so that we could see what actually happened. So here, it just gives a little picture of the tourists that are coming in to this whole area, and this is actually my group down at the bottom. And Fritz snapped that picture somewhere along the way. But tourists just flood through these various temples and surrounding relics every day now. So I really did have a great time tromping through these places and climbing to third floor rooms, which this one is, to overlook all of these amazing structures, really beautiful jungle surroundings. And I was really hoping to see a tiger, but it just didn't happen. So as far as the religious aspect of visiting these places, I mean, it really doesn't mean anything to me. So by about day 3, I was kind of templed out, but really the beauty was undeniable. So this is the morning that we got up at 5 a.m. in the morning and to go see the sunrise over Angkor Wat. And this is just something that almost everyone does that goes to this area. So it's kind of an iconic type of picture, and obviously it's beautiful. And that was kind of our final impression before leaving to Phnom Penh later that night. So these are some of the marketplaces outside the temples, and these women were selling things. It was kind of nice because you got to interact with them and kind of see them in their own culture. Kind of the part that, you know, kind of was eye-opening was that the mothers at times would have their little kids selling things for them. I think I had posted on my Facebook page a little boy selling a flute that we ran into when we bought some of his flutes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, they're really sweet and they're really cute, but it's also kind of, it really shows that there's a lot of poverty still in those areas. This is one of the beautiful restaurants we went to on our last night in Siem Reap. And every night we really went out for beautiful meals, and they're kind of culturally diverse, and it just showed you a lot of what's going on in different parts of Siem Reap. And so, again, kind of exciting because you have this prosperous feeling. So, but this restaurant was really cool. It was started by a Swiss man, and what I really thought was great about it is he had set up a training program for the poorest of the poor, young people in Cambodia, and he brings them in to train in the hotel and the restaurant business. And it's this really structured program that you really have to apply, and they actually go out and make sure that your living conditions are what you say they are, because it's that kind of a coveted position now, and so everybody's trying to get in, but he really wants to save it for the poorest of the poor. And we met these young adults as they were the ones working in the restaurant, and they were just so incredibly charming. And he told us that the other high-end hotels, I mean, there's a Raffles and there is a Meridian, and I mean, there's just really nice hotels there. But they're always now poaching his employees because they know that they're so well trained. And in a way, he said it's kind of frustrating, but in a way, it's a great compliment and allows his program to be able to continue. Yeah. So after a few days of living in this wonderful la la land of Siem Reap, Fritz and I, we then separated from our group for about 24, 36 hours, and we flew down to the capital of Phnom Penh. So this is a picture of Ya and I. And as you guys have heard a lot about Ya over the years, and we've really feel privileged to be able to work with her and the team, but the story isn't quite what we originally thought it was, and I'll tell you more about the why behind that a little bit in a few minutes. But we landed at the airport, and Wendy Scott, who is the woman who connected us with Ya, and Wendy is a missionary from YWAM, and she's lived in Cambodia for like 25 years. So Wendy met us outside the airport, and she told us that she had plans that night, but thought it was good that we were going to spend some time without her and alone with Ya. She said, Ya won't talk that much if I'm around, so I think it's good you spend one-on-one time. In my opinion, she said this a little flippantly, but she told us that Ya was waiting outside with a moto, and she was going to take us to the Artisans. So while I was like, okay, well, I didn't know what else to say to that, because I realized that I actually found it comforting that we was going to have this American missionary with us who obviously spoke the language and kind of knew where we should go and where we shouldn't go and things like that. But Wendy said we'd be good, and Ya would take care of us, and she said Ya's English was okay, so she thought we'd be fine. Didn't sound that convincing to me, but also she said that Ya's motor driver is Ya's good friend, and so Ya trusts him, so again, should be fine. Like, okay. So we get outside of the airport, and Ya is standing there with her flaming red hair, and she's waiting for us. And this girl was so not shy. She was outgoing and bubbly with this great personality, and she talks 100 miles a minute. She's totally embarrassed that her hair is that color. She had a little dyeing mishap. It was supposed to be kind of a much more natural red color. So she was kind of horrified and a little embarrassed, but I told her she just needed to own it and have fun with it. So it kind of became the fun joke. So next is a picture of the moto that we were riding in. I don't think that's the one we were in, actually, but this gives you an idea of what a moto is, and ours was very much like that. And so Ya and I were sitting on one side and Fritz was on the other. So we start talking, and she starts telling me all kinds of crazy stories, and good crazy stories, nothing bad. She tells me, first of all, that it's going to be about an hour ride to get to the house where we're visiting, and I'm not real thrilled about this because it's like 4:30 in the afternoon already, and so I'm realizing that we'll be coming back in the dark, and this wouldn't have bothered me quite so much, except when I started talking to Ya, she started telling me, and Fritz, well, first of all, I told her, when I met her, I said, oh, we just love your country. It's so beautiful. And she said, no, it isn't. It's absolutely horrible. And I didn't really know what to do with that, right? Usually when you compliment somebody on their country, they usually appreciate that. And yeah, she just told me that I was flat out wrong. And so then she starts telling me how dangerous it is with all of these examples of bad things that can happen. And I thought, well, great. So we're in this open air moto, and we're going to be driving around all evening, because even after we get back from the first artisan group, we have another artisan group, or we have another couple artisans to go visit in the slums. So first, apparently, we were going for the nice part. So on this long ride, though, Ya is telling me her story. And I had to listen really hard because it was noisy, and she does have quite an accent, and so I was only getting about 80% of what she was saying. But she was explaining to me her story and kind of what she's willing to tell and what she's not willing to tell. first of all, we asked her, of course, if it was okay if we took pictures, because I know a couple of years ago she was not okay with that. But she said yes, that she's ready to do that, and she wants to have more friends, she said, and she knows that all of you will see this, and even if you don't know her, even if she doesn't know you, you will know her, and she feels like she has more friends. So that was really quite touching. Yeah, makes you tear up, of course. So, but yeah, back to Ya's story is really different than what I've been telling, and that always kind of makes my stomach sink a little bit. But the reason why she kind of gave a vague story and didn't correct us in the past when we had when we were telling what we thought it was, because she's really scared for her own safety. And she knows the man that attacked her is still trying to find her to kill her. His intention was to kill her initially. He goes to her old neighborhood regularly to look for her. And the neighbors try and convince him that she's dead already. But, he doesn't believe them, and he keeps coming back. So Ya can't live with her mother anymore, and Ya actually lives with Wendy. And she really also lives in fear. She says that the only time she feels safe is when she's going to Thailand to buy our yarn for our infinity scarves, or to Vietnam to buy our beads for our pearl bracelets. And she really loves those trips. Wendy taught her how to do it. Now Ya is brave enough to do this by herself, and you can tell that she's really proud that she can do this now. Wendy did tell me that 2 months ago even, Ya was a different person. It's really been all of a sudden that she has these great amounts of confidence, and Wendy said she knows that Trades of Hope has played a huge part in that, which means all of you guys have played a huge part in that. Ya lives really now to help other women, and she helps other women who, like her, have been burned in most cases, and she really wanted to introduce them all to us. She's been working with, and that's what we set out to do in that 24-hour period that we were there. And that's when I realized that I really should have allowed more time in Phnom Penh. I thought I was really just going to meet Ya and the first couple of women that we met, but Ya had other plans, so we did. We drove through Phnom Penh, and it was really just such a contrast. I mean, there's no way the pictures can show that, but it was like really chaotic, and it was really dusty, and it just had a completely different feel. All of these motos and mopeds had this whole family is just hanging off from them. And at times you'd see like a family of 4 with these beautiful little kids, and gosh, it just looks like disaster waiting to happen to us Americans, obviously. So then we get to Toon's house. And this is Toon here in the middle in the purple. And Toon was so sweet. And Jill said she was so excited to have us there and to meet her. And we met and we hugged. And then I asked if the little girl who that man is holding in that back picture, there'll be better pictures of in a second, was hers. And Ya says, no, she can't have any children. Well, this is when the language barrier kind of came in helpful, as Toon couldn't understand what I was asking. So I just kind of smiled and nodded and felt a little uncomfortable and a little unsettled myself, because I was kind of afraid that maybe it was her burns that had affected her in that way. But Ya tells me that Toon watches her niece, Hoi, and it's her niece and her sister goes to work at a restaurant that Ya said is a very bad restaurant. And so, again, I didn't really know what to say about that, and I didn't feel comfortable asking anymore, but we all can have a few guesses as to what that might be. So I learned that Toon was married to a man previously, and the man's first wife found out that he was with Toon now and had acid poured on her. So the husband then left her, and now she has a husband who seems to have married her, Ya says, so that he doesn't have to work, but Ya loves him, and basically he doesn't beat her, and he provides some type of protection around the house, and so that's kind of the standard, unfortunately. So she brought us this amazing fruit, which I was so glad was going to peel because there was no way I couldn't have not eaten it. It was really great, though. It had like a really great texture, and you just spooned it out, and I had never had anything about it before, and she absolutely loved that we liked her fruit, so it was very sweet, and she sent me home with like several extra pieces in my bag. So, and then T arrives, and T is the woman sitting in the hammock there. She has her daughter, who is 4, and the 2 girls are actually good friends. And T was seeing a man who was married And the wife, and there's a little bit of a theme to all of these, I know. We'll go into some different stories in a bit. But the wife had acid poured on T, and now T works. The only job that she can get as an acid victim is cleaning at some type of clinic for burn victims. These are not other acid attack victims, though, and Yas says that T is treated absolutely horribly. She's literally like kicked at and hit at and called horrible names and ridiculed just every single day. So T is really hoping that, you know, they can make enough scarves and start selling, that we sell enough of them that she can quit that other job. And right now she's been working for Trades of Hope part-time in the evening. They even made the little, for the I shouldn't say oldies, that's not good. For the women that have been around since the beginning, we had these little mittens that were red and white that were Christmas ornaments, and these two women were the two that made those as well. So they love to crochet, and they say they can do it really fast and really well, so they want to do more crochet work for us. So, yeah. So both of these women just really love making their scarf, and Mustard Infinity scarf. And it went over really well at Trades of Hope. We were originally concerned the price might be too high, that we wouldn't actually sell enough of them, but you guys all love them, and therefore your customers loved them. And so I'm going to give you a little insider scoop that these are on the board to come back for fall. So there's really actually no way I could have stood and told them that no, we weren't going to sell them, because they were just too sweet, and they're standing right in front of me asking me. So, so sweet. Anyways, so we're excited about that we can make you guys happy by bringing back a product that you really liked. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of good comments on there. And that we can help support these ladies' efforts in that way. So, Yah is telling me, as we're sitting there, how incredibly unsafe the area is. It didn't look bad to me. I mean, compared to Haiti, it was really nice. So it didn't look bad to me. But she continues to stress how unsafe it is, and that they really, as a family, lock themselves in the house by 7 p.m. every night and lock the windows and lock the doors because it's just too unsafe. And the other amazing thing that they were sharing with me is they are so scared for those two little girls. They talk about it as if it is just a given that if they let those girls out of their sight, they will be kidnapped and put into the sex slavery. And I mean, it was just kind of like, you know, kind of hit you right in the heart, because these two precious little girls who are, you know, nothing but sweet and innocent at this point, could be just taken and used that way for people's own financial gain and people's pleasure is pretty sickening. So, yeah, at some point, we've been there about an hour or so, and the sun is really starting to set already. So I suggested we better go, and Yas said, oh, yeah, definitely. And so we jumped back in the moto, and we head back towards the airport, and then we were actually traveling like another 30 minutes into the slums. And as we're going there, I'm really feeling like, wow, I really don't think this is the smartest thing we've ever done. But I just didn't find it in my heart to tell this woman that I wasn't going to go there, you know, and do this with her and see this with her. So for that next, that's really in my face. I put this in here because that's really how I felt the whole way. She was telling me, she started telling me the stories of the women that we are going to meet next. And it was worse than the last situation we had just left. So we get to Yep's house, and Yep is the woman in the blue 3-button there. Very sweet, and you could tell she was shy and a little humble, very humble. And we go into her house, which consisted of that one room with one light bulb hanging from the ceiling. I have to say I was really impressed with how clean it was. I mean, this woman is obviously trying to make the best situation out of how little she actually has. So there's no other furniture. Those cushions in the corner are what her and her 2 daughters sleep on. The 2 daughters were at some type of English class. Actually, they ran by an NGO in the area, and so they weren't there, unfortunately. But let me see, I think, yeah, that's a picture of one of them, so that she has hanging on the wall. And she talks about the girls, and you can just tell. I mean, she just lights up, and she just loves those girls. So actually, the video that I'm going to show you in 1 minute, I'm afraid we're going to go about 15 minutes over. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can, which is making me a little frantic.
No, don't be frantic. We have all the time you need.
Okay, but I'm usually the one a stickler about the time, so I'm feeling a little guilty about that. But it does make me a little. I feel like I'm amped up on caffeine or something. I'm trying to talk so fast. So, but anyways, this is Yep's little girl, and in the video you're going to see just a short clip of Yep and Ya and I sitting talking on the floor. And just to give you a little bit of background, Yep, first of all, was had fallen in love with an American man who was Cambodian, and he used to come back regularly for business in Cambodia. And I don't know if Yep knew that the man was married or not, but he did have a Cambodian wife who lived in America also, who found out about the affair. And that woman called to Cambodia and paid someone to harm her. So, she didn't want her dead apparently, but she wanted her scarred so that the man didn't want her anymore. And apparently it worked because the man left her and, Yep, as she was pregnant. And now, he has left two very special people in his wake. And Yep is, forced to try and deal with raising two little girls. She actually had another little girl before the youngest one by herself. And again, if you guys met her, she's just so sweet, and it's so heartbreaking. So she lives in an absolutely awful place. Again, crazy that we went there at like 8 o'clock at night. And her brother apparently steals from her regularly. So just as she earns some more money, her brother comes and takes it. So Ya's ideal solution is to have Yet be working enough for us that she's getting really regular income, and then that Ya can help her move to another place, and hopefully so that her brother doesn't even know where she's at. But next door, when Fritz and I were leaving, to fast forward just a bit, we walked past the door that was open next to hers, so another little house, if you will, and there were all these men like laying on the ground, obviously doing drugs of some sort, with crazy music. It was just, you just look at something and you just get that yicky feeling. Wow. It was yicky. And we had to walk down this very narrow, dark alley. So if two people would have come from each side, that would have been good. And about that point, Fritz says, "We're never bringing any CEs here. You know that, right?" Yeah, I know that. I'm not going to bring anybody there ever again. So, the video, I haven't noted in there. I just wanted to tell you about that. So the video makes more sense. Is that she has made these bags and this necklace to show me. They're kind of these crocheted little bags. And she's excited to show me these new products that she's basically proposing she makes for Trades of Hope. And so I saw them, and honestly, they could use some tweaking, and maybe we can do something with it. But they weren't great Trades of Hope products. But I just told her I thought they were beautiful because, you know what, I couldn't make those as nicely as she made them, that's for sure. And so I told them they were beautiful, and I bought a couple of them for her way above her asking price, and she was just obviously over the moon about that. And, it's also kind of touching and heartbreaking all at the same time when you give somebody $25 and they, well up with tears. But, oh, my goodness, that there's a lot going on there in that woman's heart. So, this is a picture of her, and you guys will see her making our Cambodia ring, which, again, as an insider info, will be showing up as a promo in April because we needed to order a lot from her right away, obviously. So, Miriam, would you mind showing that video for us? And then we'll go back to the rest of the slides. Okay. It is pretty amazing that she has the skills to do this. I mean, I see it. I'll bring it back just one sec. Marianne, are we going to do you guys hear sound? Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Let's try it again.
All right. Are you guys hearing sounds with that at all? Oh, yes. You guys are saying yes 18 times, and I'm waiting to listen. Okay. Marion, if you put the pictures back on, and then we can finish up. But we will put that link on our CE webpage so you guys can see it. So sorry about that. Apparently it did not work on iPads well. So, all right. So, so to end that evening, we went from Yep's house to another woman's house named Jenda. And I don't have any pictures of that because honestly, we were getting a little worried to bring out any cameras. And the situation was so sad that it actually felt kind of cheap taking pictures. Jenda doesn't work for Trades of Hope yet. She is a mom of two beautiful little girls. Nita is 7, and she has another little girl that's been taken away from her, who is probably 4 or 5 now, based on the story. So just to get a quick rundown of that, Nita was married to a man, and I couldn't quite get it, but he either wanted her to go somewhere or to not go somewhere. It was this whole thing happened because he was upset with something she did to do with geography. So anyways, he poured acid on her with the 2 girls in the room. Well, very sadly, Nita and the other little girl ran up to hug their mom as this happened, and Nita was burned. And so she has burns on her face and on her arm. And Jenda was completely blinded by this incident. The woman in Jenda's life took away her youngest daughter and cast Nita and Jenda out on the streets, as their burns were so incredibly visible that they were deemed unworthy or unclean or too shameful to have around. And so Jenda's cast out on the street with burns all over her and blind, and her daughter Nita. So somehow these 2 people survived. And talking about being a strong mom, right? Jenda gets a room she rents, and she pays $50 a month to rent this room that we were in. And it was a little bit bigger than Yep's. And Nita goes to a school down the street where she walks to back and forth by herself. And Jenda has a job where she gets paid $3 a day, 5 days a week, to weigh rice at some NGO around the corner. So if you do the math, it doesn't really work out that well. And they're struggling incredibly. And the very saddest part about all of that is Nita, the school she goes to is a horrible school, and she is called a ghost by the other girls in her class and the other children. She was ridiculed every day because of these wounds, and she is somehow sexually inappropriately touched by the other children every day. So that's what that little girl has to go to school every day to. So I told Wendy and Ya that we would help in any way we could. There is a Christian school near where Wendy lives, and we're going to see, apparently in Cambodia you can't change schools during the middle of the school year. So the hope is that by the summer that we can help them and help Ya and Wendy move Jenda and Nita across town to where Wendy lives, near where Wendy lives. That means Jenda needs to find another job, and she doesn't have any skills yet to work for us. And so anyways, there's some brainstorming going on. But that is very, very much on my heart to hopefully see big change there in the next few months. So we went back to our cushy hotel, and I ordered a large glass of wine. We spent the evening there, and knowing that we were going to be picked up the next morning to go to this hospital, because Ya had one more thing that we had to absolutely see. So we went to this hospital. The woman in the middle is Wendy, and this is the three of us walking in. It didn't look too bad from the outside. I was pleasantly surprised. And then we're walking down the hallway to go into their intensive care unit, and this is what it looked like when we stepped in. And this is going to sound really selfish, actually, but it kind of paints a picture as to like kind of just how bad things are and how wrong things are in certain aspects of it. Mm-hmm. We had to take off our shoes to go in this intensive care unit, and the floors were disgusting, and I had gotten a blister on my toe, so I had this like open wound on my toe, and I was so horrified. And then I look around, and these people all have like open wounds all over in this gross place that you wouldn't want your children to sit on the floor in, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was, I had a good tennis shot, thanks. So we walk around the corner, and we see Mom, and this is the woman that Ya wanted us to meet. And Fritz is just very discreetly taking photos, and we did ask Ya if it was okay, and she said yes. So nobody even realizes he's taking photos. He actually had no idea what he was even getting. He just clicked on. So this is Mom, and the story of Mom is that she had set up a new business, and she had a stall, and she was selling something. I don't know what she was selling, because even though I was curious, it kind of seemed petty to ask. And another woman up the marketplace from her was selling the same thing, and the woman was ticked off that Mom was coming in and taking her business away. So the woman paid her 17-year-old daughter $20 and to go down and kill Mom with acid. And so the girl did a really good job. And Mom is covered from head to toe. And where she wasn't, she has skin grafts. And the day that we went to visit, she and her family were told that the skin grafts were not holding. And in Cambodia, they don't go to a lab and grow sheets of skin. You're just kind of out of luck. And so that's kind of where we were that day. And Wendy has gone out into the Michelin field where there is no telephone and no internet, and so I really haven't had an update. I tried to catch her before she left to get an update on Mom and if there was anything else had happened. And I think it'd be a miracle if this woman was still alive. But honestly, as I said, and I looked at her, she was in so much pain. She was just burnt everywhere, and it really probably just would have been a blessing if she would have just passed away. It was heartbreaking that she had been laying there 8 weeks like that already.
Wow.
So,
my goodness.
Yeah, told me the whole story, and there was actually, so that's her husband beside me, and he is actually a really good husband, Yeah said, and they are a young couple, and they were in love, and they have a little girl, and he's been there every moment and is completely heartbroken that this has happened to his beautiful wife. And he's there, and he was rubbing her feet a lot to try and prove to circulation because basically her feet were the only thing that wasn't burnt. So, yeah, is being a very good friend to her and is giving her hope, and as a victim herself can at least identify a little bit with what these women are going through. So I basically sat there and listened, and at the end, Yas says, and of course I would have been a total chicken if I hadn't, but Yas says, "Do you want to go say something to her?" Like, okay. What do you say to this woman? I mean, my heart was breaking for her. So I just went up, and there's one spot on her arm that wasn't burnt, and on her forearm, and so I just touched her forearm because I had seen other people doing that, and told her that, we would be thinking of her and praying for her, and we wouldn't forget her, and we were praying for a miracle and for the pain to go away. And she starts crying, and the tears start streaming down her face on the one cheek that wasn't burnt, and so, of course, then tears start streaming down my face, and it was just horrible, and there was, no end in sight for this woman. So if you want to pray for Mom and her family, that would be great. Her aunt, who raised her, absolutely loved her, and she put her house up on a mortgage. She actually owned her house, which is remarkable. She took out a loan from the bank and mortgaged her whole house for $5,000 on an 8-week loan. And that day we were there, the loan was up, and so they were going to come and take over her home possibly. And so Wendy was going to go home to her husband and see if there was some way they could help through their church. And I told her to please let me know if there was a way that we could help and basically make it so that they can keep their house. And I never heard back from Wendy because she kind of took off. But I know that Yah is a huge advocate for these women, and she'll be on Wendy. If Wendy forgot and got sidetracked, Yah would bring her back to it. So then we, just to kind of, here, let me close that off. So to kind of wrap things up, we took an hour car ride back to our hotel, and we got caught in traffic, and it actually turned out to be a huge blessing because during that time, Wendy was really educating both of us on Cambodia in general and the hows and the whys behind it, because I just felt like it was missing a huge piece of the puzzle, right? Because you meet these people, and they're so sweet, and they're kind, and they're intelligent. How in the world can they possibly think this is okay? And then they ostracize each other, and they treat each other so horribly, and they throw their loved ones out on the street, and I just didn't get it, And Wendy told me, which I felt was pretty enlightening, it has to do with some aspects of the Buddhist culture. And I really don't know a lot about Buddhism or Hinduism or anything, so I would have thought it was all about being Zen and things like that. But she said that actually the thought of you having multiple lives and being punished in one life and the idea of karma and all these things kind of helped work to promote this, I would say awful mindset on things. And like when Yah was getting one of her surgeries, Wendy knew Yah by that point already. And this old woman, as Yah is laying there in the bed suffering, because obviously they're not having real great pain medication there. The old woman comes up to Yah and trying to comfort her, trying to be sweet, said, basically, honey, it's going to be okay, because even though you obviously did something really bad in this life or the next, hopefully if you change your behavior, you're paying for it now. And so your next life should be good. And, of course, to Yah, who had not done anything, in her opinion, whatsoever, besides having some awful men in her life, was totally heartbroken. And Yah basically says, everyone that looks at me in Cambodia thinks that I did something horrible, that I, had an affair, or that I hurt somebody else or whatever, but I obviously deserved this. So that was kind of enlightening to me. I thought, oh my gosh, okay, at least I kind of get where it's coming from now. And Wendy told me also that there was a study done by, I think it was Princeton or Purdue, I can't remember. It was an outstanding American university though. And she said that they did the study on Cambodia women and asked them, and they were all different geographic backgrounds and financial backgrounds, and so some were wealthy, some were poor, and a lot of in between. And when asked if there was some type of action to which acid attack was an appropriate punishment, 70% of those women said yes. And it just kind of, honestly, I think that just so hit me in the gut. Because if 70% of the women of that nation feel like that is appropriate, then wow, what a huge problem that, really only the grace of God is going to help penetrate that. And, Ya feels horrible because Ya's a Christian now because of Wendy. And she says, that she feels so bad for them, that they don't understand about Christ's love for us and understand about grace and compassion and things like that. So that was how we got dropped off at the airport. So,
wow.
I kind of got on the plane pretty boggled. And then what was one last thing that was really interesting, when we landed in Siem Reap and we were going to meet our team for lunch at this very nice hotel. It was a Sofitel, and we were having a nice lunch in the garden there. And the driver, we jumped in a moto outside the airport, and the driver took us away we'd never been before. And it was so frustrating because it was this bumpy dirt road. It was a horrible road. And I was pretty sure it was running parallel to the nice one that we usually go on. And I was ready to get back. I wanted to be on time for lunch because I didn't want to hold people up and so on and so forth. But what I found was this road that runs one block parallel to the nice road that we were on was pretty hellish. And there were 18-month-old little girl, she was a little girl because she was half naked, standing beside the road in traffic. I mean, it was horrible. And all of a sudden, we pull up to what I realized that we are behind the Sofitel Hotel. And we go around 2 corners, and we pull into this lush, tropical paradise. And it was just like, oh, my goodness. So I really believe that God showed me that about Siem Reap as well. And not that I'm saying that people shouldn't go enjoy places like the Sofitel, because that's okay, because all those people that work there have good jobs and they're paid fair wages and so on and so forth. But it's just knowing what's going on behind the scenes. And that's a pretty good thing. So I would just ask that all of you pray with us, over the coming weeks and the coming months as to how we can be a help to these women that I've told you about, and that we can see just the direction that Trades of Hope can go to be the most effective and to help many other people like these women in the years to come. So, okay, sorry guys, 20 minutes over. Sorry about that, but I hope I didn't talk so fast that I sounded like a crazy person. But
no, thank you so much, Gretchen. It was beautiful. It was wonderful, and we could have had lots more. Thank you for being the voice. I hear the women saying this. Thank you for being the voice to Moan and to Ya, and letting them know that we work for them. We care for them, don't we, girls? And this is going to do for you, for all of us, just what it did for you. It makes us realize we have a purpose. When we get out of bed in the morning, we need to go do something to help these people, and it's a joy to do that. So thank you so much for sharing your heart, Gretchen.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you guys for
so
all being so awesome. Wow, and I just love working with all of you guys that just have such huge hearts, and it is comforting to know that I can come and bare my soul, basically, and you guys will get it, and you will feel it as well. So I really appreciate that and love working with all of you. So, all right, thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.